Hello and welcome to Salaam Namaste. Broadcasting live from the Now Media TV studios in Houston, this is Saji Salaam. Over the past few weeks, we've been talking to young entrepreneurs from India who've been launching, or I should say relaunching, traditional and ancient Indian businesses with a very modern twist. This evening, we have one such entrepreneur, Esha Tiwari. Esha, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Saji. Such a pleasure being here. Thank you so much for having me.
So Esha, let's jump right in. I know Esha as a global digital branding expert who then moved on to launch her own brand in a plant-based perfumery niche. So maybe you want to talk about your background and how you got here, and then we'll go from there.
Perfect. So I was born in a city called Banaras. It's in UP, Uttar Pradesh of India. It's one of the most spiritual cities that you will see in India. And I was brought up in a city called Gwalior, which is in MP, Madhya Pradesh. And I have been in the capital of India since 13 years now. So I have a lot of cultural mix inside of me. And after my 12th standard, it was very clear that I do not want to go into the mainstreams of sciences and the competitive exams and stuff like that, because I really wanted to go into anything which talks about storytelling. So I think that reign and that vein of storytelling was very much inside me from the very start. And I couldn't help but pursue it. So I became a literature student. I was in English literature for about 5 years of my life. And I think so the 3 solid years of those life really changed who I am as a personality. So we were taught to dissect every sentence, every analysis, every poem, every kind of text that you read, you need to have a context of that. And that really helped me see any kind of piece of paper, any kind of piece of literature, and read cultures as pieces of literature too. Read history as pieces of literature too. And that analytical nerve of reading between the lines got so strong that my first job was in advertising and marketing. So I started as a junior copywriter. I started as a content writer actually. And then I went up to the ladder, became a junior copywriter, then a copywriter, then a senior copywriter, then a group head. So advertising and marketing, I handled brands like Royal Enfield, Marks and Spencer, Apple, Tinder, Reebok for India. And it was a creative field, a minefield, where you could explore so many ideas to do what you want to do with the brand. And that nuance of building a brand, of having a brand storytelling started from there. And I really enjoyed my almost 6 to 7 year stunt with advertising and marketing. And I think so when the time came, it was time to pour in your knowledge of advertising, marketing, your love for advertising and marketing into a sector which needed advertising and marketing, which is the film making culture of India. And that is what we are doing. I poured all my knowledge, all my love to building this culture up from the scratch, and to present it to a new light to India and to the world.
Mm-hmm.
So yes,
oh, that is really interesting that we have a lot of youngsters coming into these spaces like Ittar and Ayurveda, and basically putting a new spin on it and marketing it in a manner that a lot more people can consume, and I think this is great. So here's something I wanted to touch upon as well. You talk about the role of your parents and their influence and how that got you into plant-based perfume. It was very interesting. Could you talk a little more about that, please?
So I'm the first entrepreneur of my family, Saji. And but I always say I was born in a garden. My dad is a botanist, and my mom is a philosopher. She's a Sanskrit philosopher. So she's deep into the Indian philosophy, and My dad, because his love for botany, and he's also a microbiologist. So I have been into the nuances of what how a plant behaves, misbehaves, and everything from the scratch. So very lately, I realized that the dinner table conversations that we used to have were not normal conversations. Because we used to talk about, the kind of flowers that are growing in our garden, and which one is behaving, which one is not behaving well. What should we do? Should we change the soil? Should we change the climate? Should we kind of make a hybrid flower if we have to? So I have been deep rooted in nature. My mother was the very first gardener I ever saw, I think so. Her love for nature is so rooted that nature became our philosophy of life, more than just kind of seeing the plants grow. We kind of started adapting that vein, that nerve, into how to live life for us. And that also translates into my business and into my brand, the kind of feeling that we would want people to have when they're using a scent. So nature kind of became a mirror for us, in terms of, like, we are never given a guide to live our life. But I think so, when you're born in the garden, you have a guide right in front of you. You have a guidebook right in front of you, and nature became that. So very strong influences of my father and my mother both, because I'm a sense storyteller now. I've been given that, I don't know, euphemism to be a sense storyteller. And I think so that all of it comes from these two very strong influences that I had by having a botanist dad and a philosopher mom. So yes.
That's very nice to know. Hopefully, I'm passing something on to my daughter too, and I'm hoping that I'm
I'm sure,
influencing
I'm sure
her
that's me.
positively, and she gets to say about it sometime in the future as well. So yeah, so nice to hear about it. So now let's jump right into the process of making ether. And for instance, many
Yes.
of our, even a lot of our viewers who have an Indian background are not really familiar with ether. And so maybe, if you could talk through that process from the flower to the ether itself, that would help
Absolutely.
a lot.
So Itra making is one of the oldest form of perfumery. It's one of the oldest, cleanest, toughest form of perfumery. It's extremely tough. It's very artisan led, and Itra making has been at the genesis of global perfumery. So you see the traces of Itra making going back to like 13th century, 12th century, and or before. The dedication of India for making a scent goes beyond Itra making as well. So Itra making is a way of making the scent with hydrodistillation. These are hydrodistilled scents. It's the only form of perfumery which is cooked on open fire. Now, the dedication of India towards deriving a scent out of something goes beyond hydrodistillation as well. So, you see the in a lot of context of the literature of India, you see people smearing paste on their body. So wood used to be crushed, like a sandalwood or agar wood used to be crushed, because these are fragrant woods, and the paste used to be used on the body in order to fragrant the body. Now, what about the flowers? You can't crush a flower and put it on your body, right? Because it would destroy the flower and give you no scent. But before hydrodistillation, the way India found was that it used to keep a bowl of sesame seeds, a pouch of sesame seeds. And for example, you need to derive the scent of jasmine from it. So every time jasmine used to be changed every morning, like a bunch of jasmine used to be changed inside the sesame seeds, till the time the sesame seeds got infused with the scent of jasmine. And then it used to be crushed and put on the body. So what we are talking about is of a culture which has been obsessed with scents. We have been at the genesis of global perfumery, and this is the only kind of perfumery which is cooked on open fire. So you go into the farms fresh in the morning at about like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and 6 o'clock, and this is so nature led and so intuition led that every aspect and influence of nature changes the scent. So if you pluck the flowers before sunrise, the scent would be different. And if you pluck the flower after sunrise, the scent would be different, because the sunlight changes the composition of the scent. So accordingly, whatever your blend you are going forward with, and what form of the flower, what aspect or nuance of the flower you would want the scent to have, you pick the fresh flowers from the farm, you carry it to the distillery, and you pour it into big copper stills. Now, this method traditionally is called Deg Bhabka method of hydrodistillation. Bhabka means, bhap means the distillation, the steam. Okay, so it's a steam distillation method. So you put the raw ingredients into a copper still. You add, the base oil, which is mostly a sandalwood oil or an agarwood oil, and you add that, and you put it on open fire to be cooked. It's the only form of perfumery which is cooked on open fire, and it is so intuition led that an Itra artisan can see it from the distance that the fire is not right on 30 degrees of the copper stills or on 40 degrees of the copper still, and or the scent or the copper stills needs more of sandalwood or more of the flower, etc. So it's a generational form of perfumery. It's something that has been infused into the nerves of people who are doing it, so much so that it now comes in their intuition, in their passion, so naturally. So yes,
Okay,
that is the form of
interesting.
perfumery that we're talking about.
Thank you for that great description of the process, Isha. And we'll be back after a short commercial break. Welcome back as we continue this fascinating conversation with Isha on the process of ether making. So, Isha, I have a follow-up question from that process itself. Could you talk about, I know that there's no alcohol involved,
Right.
and probably not much electricity being used as well. But
Right.
are there other chemicals being added, or do you know enough
So
about that part?
in traditional methods, there is no amount of alcohol or chemicals. It's the cleanest form of perfumery. It's completely plant-based. So it's only the extracts in a base oil, which is mostly a sandalwood oil, or in the new formats, it could be jojoba oil or any other oil that could retain the identity of the ingredients that we're talking about. In a lot of situations, musk is also used. We do not do musk because we're a completely plant-based perfumery, and musk is an animal-derived ingredient. But in a lot of situations, that is also used. But there is no amount of chemicals or any other form of alcohol used. So that is why it is a very organic form of perfumery which reacts with your body temperature and with your body chemistry. So by nature, it creates a signature scent for you, because the same scent, the same ether will smell a little different on you as compared to the other person, because it takes the body chemistry and body temperature, and it becomes customized and personalized to you by nature. So by nature, it becomes a signature scent, which is the most beautiful art of it all.
And I think it is because of this, labor-intensive and organic process that ether tends to be more expensive than the traditional perfumes that you see in the market.
Right.
Is that an accurate description of
That is true.
assessment
So
of it?
it is definitely labor intensive, and it's also dependent on the natural ingredient. And some of the natural ingredients that they are dependent on, they are natural rarity in themselves. So, for example, oud is a raisin that comes out of the agarwood trees in Assam, and it happens to be produced after a chemical reaction, a fungus reaction that happens in the agarwood trees in Assam. Now, that fungus reaction, only 1 out of 10 trees get that fungus reaction. So imagine the rarity of the natural oud. That is why it's an expensive ingredient. If it's an expensive ingredient and we are giving you the purest form of that blend, then definitely it will be an expensive ether as well. Similarly with saffron, for example, it's one of the most expensive spices coming out of India. Now, the saffron flower has only two pollen capturing strings. If you open a saffron flower, it only has two pollen capturing strings, which looks identical to each other. So, but there is a one male pollen capturing string and one female pollen capturing string. Only the female pollen capturing string has the scent and the flavor. The male pollen capturing string does not have it. It's a hoax. So only one string out of the entire flower is giving you the scent and the flavor of saffron. Now you kind of pick that up and also you put it out to be dried in the sun. So a lot of temperature, a lot of climate is involved into it because half of it goes in the wind. So we lose half of it in the wind, and hence the prices of all of these ingredients because they're all natural rarity, and a lot of factors are dependent to make that ingredient come to you on your skin and make you smell so magical and so ethereal.
And to give an indication of the pricing, and from my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, from what I know, 1 kilogram of agar wood costs anywhere from 100,000 to $150,000, making it one of the most expensive woods. Is that kind of the pricing you hear as well?
That is, yes. If you're not using any sort of chemicals, and if you're using the pure blends, and in some cases, in some form of itra, even the base oil is not used. So that is called the root of the flower, like the soul of the flower. So in most of the cases, like yes, you use a base oil, and on top of that, the ingredient is used. But in some cases, that is called an itra. If you go further down, it's called a root, which is translated in English as the soul. So that is doesn't even use the base oil. So it's exact translation of the flour in just like 10 ml or 12 ml of a bottle. So that is even more expensive. So you're right about the pricing, Saji. It is an expensive ingredient. Sorry, an expensive form of perfumery, but it also has a lot more usage and benefit because you do not have to use a lot of it on your body or on your skin because the scent lasts you for about easily for about 12 plus hours for a lighter scent and about 16-18 hours for a stronger scent. So you just have to use a little and it goes for a long time. And also opening up and evolving on your skin on every different stages. So you will experience the scent in the morning in a different light and experience the scent in the evening, the same scent in a very different light because it has evolved on your skin throughout the day.
Oh, interesting. And so I think there's a lot of science behind this too, right? And nuance behind this, which you discover as you get deeper into this space. So it's very fascinating for people to know about this. So thanks for sharing that. But let's now jump into Kastur, and starting from the name. When did this get established? And let's talk about Kastur in more detail.
Perfect, absolutely. So kastur comes from the word kasturi, Saji, and kasturi means musk in Hindi. Musk is found in the navel of a deer. So if you happen to see real musk, it is a very hairy pouch. And the folklore is, it's written by Kabir Das in one of the couplets that the deer is so enchanted by the scent that it runs an entire forest for searching for the scent, that where is it coming from, but it doesn't know that it's coming from itself. That we have used as a metaphor that India has the most magnanimous of the scents. We are at the genesis of the global perfumery. We are still at so relevant, so central in the global perfumery scene. 30 plus ingredients are exported out of India, which is a huge chunk. 30 plus ingredients is a very, very, very big number. So your mango, your saffron, your oud, your cinnamon, your nagarmota, your chai, your gulab, all of these ingredients, they come out of India, which you find in the global perfumery so easily. Like, so I ask my audience that you go and take up any kind of scent that you like globally, and you check the label, and you see where the ingredients are coming from. It's coming from India. So this was a wake-up call, as you say, for people to look inside and to know that, to realize, to wake up to your power, to realize what is the contribution of India to the global perfumery scene, and what is the storytelling that we are doing as a brand in order to make you more aware of where you come from and what your fragrant heritage and rootage is.
Very interesting. So let me go to the other question here. So you're aggregating perfumes from various parts of India, right? Because it's
Right.
this perfumery, this ancient type of perfumery is done in a few centers in India, if I'm right. So maybe you could talk about those places and if they have any special flowers there, things like that.
Right. So this is it's you need an entire river ecosystem for this kind of perfumery because these are hydrocrystal scents, Saji. So we go from we have our artisans from in Kannauj in Hyderabad, and now we have artisans from Uttarakhand as well. So wherever there was a river civilization, the artisans kind of got situated, started making their houses there, and started producing the scents there itself while taking the local producers. So the best thing about this kind of perfumery is that it works with the land, so not against it. So you take the local producers of whatever your flowers are around you, and you mix that into creating a scent, which is very much appreciated by the people as well, because Itra making was the very first form of scent-based wellness ecosystem that the world has seen. So Itra used to be earlier prescribed to people according to the climate, according to the seasons, according to their body temperature. So, for example, if it's extremely hot, a vetiver-based scent would be prescribed to you, which is khas in Hindi, which has a cooling effect. Now, at the same time, when it's extremely cold, you need something which keeps your body warm. So, wood-based scents would be prescribed to you. So, what we're talking about is a very scent-based wellness ecosystem, which is extremely niche, and but at the same time, it's extremely a lot of heritage value. So, the local people taking in the local producers because not just it would make the smell great, it would make you battle the climate, battle the temperature. It would make your everyday lifestyle very easy, right? So that's how the local artisans got situated across the river ecosystem across India. Of course, the UP state, which is Uttar Pradesh, where I come from, I was born in Banaras, that hosts this kind of perfumery as a state. So Kannauj is the perfume capital of India, and you will have a lot more Indian artisans in Banaras, in Lucknow, in Kanpur, in Bareilly, in smaller towns like this, because of the cultural and the historical importance of UP in the rise of the Ita culture in India. So it was the Ita culture rose up during the Mughal periods, and UP as a state was extremely important in very geographically and strategically important in the rise of the Ita culture, and also very relevant in the upcoming of the Silk Route, because we took the position of traders. So we had to trade these important ingredients across the world. So this route became extremely the Silk Route became extremely relevant for the other industry as well. But at the same time, you have the cultures in South, which is in Hyderabad, and the cultures in Uttarakhand as well, and a lot more in other states as well. There's Kashmir as well, where itra making is popular. It's been always there. The form of taking the scent, deriving the scent out of with hydrodistillation has been throughout India in different pockets of the world. So what we do is
So
we get these Itar artisans on board, and we do extensive workshops with them in order to create something that we call modern Itra, which is a scent which is at the cusp of tradition and modernity. So it's not one of the traditional scents that you will which India is always associated with, and it's not a commercial scent which we have been given. It's not something that we have created. It's something that we have just found with all the French perfumes, etc. But what does a modern Indian smell like, and what does he or she or they want to smell like? That is where we come in, because
okay.
we take the Indian fragrant heritage for contemporary scent sensibilities.
Okay.
So
So that's
yes, I mean that is
great. Great conversation there. Esha, let's take a small commercial break and come back to talk more about Kastur and a lot more in this perfumery space. Welcome back as we continue this fascinating discussion with Esha. So Esha, going back to Kastur, where are you located?
So we are basically primarily located in New Delhi. We have an experience store. I'm right now sitting inside my experience store.
Oh, wow.
So where yes, so you can see. I think it's too bright in the background, but that's where we are. And across India, we have our strategic partnerships as well. So you'll find us in Bombay, in Calcutta, in Pondicherry, and in Goa, and across in Jaipur as well. And we also have our own website through which we deliver, and we're also on Amazon and Instagram, all of the commercial real estates.
And you have this, obviously, you have the digital platform that is Kastur, where customers can buy these products online, right?
Right.
Okay.
So there are a lot of we are associated with a lot of sustainable websites as well, sustainable channels as well, because we are plant-based perfumery. So a lot of organic, sustainable channels digitally and on ground as well. And we are also into a lot of plant-based cafes and a lot of organic channels like real estates like that, where you could find us. So that this synergy is a match on the go.
And what is your customer demographics like? I mean, my initial thinking was that Attar is more for an older population who is more familiar with Attar. Is that changing? What is the customer demographics that you see right now?
That's exactly where we come in, Saji. That's exactly what we're changing because we wanted to make ITRA relevant for today's generation. Because you've already heard of it, and by your older generations, you already have an emotional attachment there. So it's easy for you to adapt into the concept as well because it's not something which is alien to you. But at the same time, the scent is something which is customized to your own sense sensibilities, and we have acknowledged that your modern sensibilities have changed. As you cannot undo COVID, you cannot undo globalization, and we are all globetrotters in India, and the sensibilities have changed because of multiple influences that we've had. So we as a brand, we acknowledge that, and we want to honor your sensibilities, your changed, adapted, nuanced sensibilities, and offer you the sense. So our TG goes from anywhere from 22 to 23, male, female, and goes up to about 55 to 60. So people buy it for themselves, people buy it for their mother, their family, their father, and they also buy it for personal usage. They also buy it for gifting, and you know the Itra making is genderless. So it's the world of Idras is never demarcated between gender. So even on our website, you will not have a demarcation which is like for men or for women. We do not do that. So we talk about gender fluidity through our sense, and for us, sense, you're supposed to find who you are with the scent, and we will not demarcate that for you and give it for you. So yes, that is.
Oh, that's. Are you seeing? I thought I saw some celebrities pop up on your Insta page. Are you seeing traction among celebrities, or is just a very early stage at this point?
Yes. So we have. We've had a beautiful impact across India, across the globe as well. So in the beauty industry, a lot of A-listers and a lot of people they now call in for their fifth or the sixth bottle in the sixth or the seventh month. So that is the kind of usage that is going on. We are a part of hospitality projects as well. We are part of Kaya Goa, in which is a sustainable boutique hotel, which is backed by one of the Indian actresses as well. Yes, we started as a homegrown brand, and we're still a homegrown brand for sure. But with every passing day, I think so the relevancy and the visibility of the brand is going up. And we're happy to have more than 20,000 customers at this point of time. And yes, it's only increasing from here on.
Oh, that's really good to know. Are you seeing, another big market in India is the wedding market. Are you seeing uptick in the market where probably Ither is being gifted to the bride and groom? Are you seeing that at all?
Right. So it's because of the nature of it that doesn't have any kind of alcohol or chemicals. It's considered auspicious. So it is supposed to. It's a tool to welcome you. Okay. So it's supposed to. It's sprayed on at the entrance of. It's a mode of welcoming. So there's a concept of in India called Bharat, which is like a huge a group of people from the groom side, which comes to the bride side's family, and the bride side is ready to welcome you with a scent, and that scent is supposed to be an itra. So, and even in the wedding invitations, which is one of the very, very big markets globally as well, one of the most highly valued markets is the wedding invitation. So you send an itra bottle along with it, that as well, because it is supposed to be, it's considered auspicious in order to welcome someone. So historically, Saji, the scent was supposed to, it was used as the mode of announcing your arrival. So the kings and the queens used to use that in the court as a means of announcing their arrival, so that the entire court gets to know that the king has entered or the queen has entered. Because the scent used to be so strong that is used to fill up the rooms and the halls and the gateways of the court. So taking the similar nuance in the practice, anywhere where a guest is welcomed or your arrival is awaited, the scent of itra is used.
Oh, that's and so like you said, Ither is part of the a lot of the cultural aspects of India as well, right? And I think that is where you talk about about Ither Dani, all right? So
Right.
could you talk about Ither Dani in a little more detail?
So, Itra actually, it's such a rooted concept in India, Saji, that it doesn't have, it has many hands and legs. So obviously, wedding is a part of it. At the same time, your memories is a part of it. So we do a lot of memory mapping with our brand as well. And one of the biggest, symbolism of Itra is an Itra Dari. So it used to be a wooden box which had multiple scents in it. And these used to be non-labeled scents. So the emotion used to be of intrigue, of joy, of a lot of excitement because you don't know which scent you'll pick up. So it used to be like that La La Land of candy of Harry Potter, like which candy will you get, sort of a feeling and excitement. So that we have replicated in the furniture which is at the store. So if you see it at the back, you have these drawers. So we have two tables like this, which has 16 drawers each. Now, each drawer has a different fragrant experience. So what we have done is that we have some of the drawers, they house raw ingredients. So we have raw oud, raw vetiver, raw mango, and raw saffron, so that we give an immersive experience to our customers about where the ingredient is coming from, because we believe that if you are connected with an ingredient, you will be much more connected with the scent. If you understand an ingredient, and this is where my botany botanical upbringing is coming from, because if you understand an ingredient from its root, you will much more appreciate that in a scent, because you will know it much better. And in some of the boxes we have an emotional storytelling of scents. So we have what love smells like, what belonging smells like, what home smells like, and we have kind of housed these in different boxes that are kept, and these are not for sale. Only our exclusive blends are for sale. This is only to give you an immersive experience into the world of Ithras, which goes much beyond just smelling good, because smelling good is just a part of it. It's just we begin from there, but it goes much deeper into your emotional and mental everyday functioning.
Fascinating points that you bring up there, Isha. Let's talk a little bit about Kanuj. I mean, there are a few places where you source from, but Kanuj brands itself as a perfume capital. So, what is
Right.
your experience around Kanuj?
So Kannauj is the perfume capital of India. It's a very small city, and it's. I recently wrote an article as well that what is it about? What is it? How does it feel to be a young perfumer in Kannauj? And it is a city, as I said, which is everything is next to each other. Okay, so you'll have schools next to shops, shops next to houses, and so on and so forth. But it is so centrally. It is said that every nook and corner you'll find people sniffing their wrists because it is such a fragrant town. And we recently did a Kannauj edition as well. So Kannauj has three indigenous producers, which is gulab, jasmine, and vetiver. And we bottled all those three in one scent, which is called gul. It is one of the most fertile. It is one of the most fragrant cities and towns that you'll find, and it is an experience all itself to be there and experience the city. So you will not just be there as a guest. You will be a part of the entire culture because you'll be taken to the farm, you'll be taken to the distillery, and you can see actually a scent, a flower being converted into a scent. You can see it in front of your own eyes, and that itself is a very it's an you know valuable experience, I must say.
Oh, very good. Yeah, I mean, so seeing is believing is what it is. So, yeah, so good to know that. And I think in our last segment, Pranav talked about perfume tourism, where he takes his customers to his Haveli and walks them through the process, so that they are able to see the whole process. So it's great to know about your connection with Kanuj as well. Let's come back to talk more after a commercial break. Welcome back, and let's continue this amazing conversation with Esha on perfumes from India. Esha, you talk about the mental health aspects of attar. So, could you go a little deeper into that subject?
Um, so this is something which is very relevant to me. Like I'm very vocal about mental emotional well-being, and being vulnerable and talking about that as well. The impact of a scent in helping you be emotionally and mentally in your emotional and mental well-being is extremely important. As I said, that ITRA were at the central, were at the genesis of a scent-based wellness ecosystem, and ITRA is your second skin. So it is something that you are taking in every second. Like your scent is your second skin. So it matters what you apply to your skin because it has an effect on how you're feeling, and what has an effect on how you're feeling will have an effect on how you're behaving. So that is the entire chain. So we do something which is called as a scent meditation, which is where I help you, I guide you on how to grow a mental garden. So it is like a safe space which is inside your head that we can create, and with the help of four, 3 to 4 scents at one go because we don't want to overwhelm. So we start with the scent of rain, which is Gili Mitti Ki Khushboo, which is kind of getting your like getting preparing the soil is what we say. Then we move on to the scent of a gulab, a rose, and the how the aspect of the flower in itself is beauty with thorns. So how a different your different emotions need to be given its due landscape on your spectrum, on your emotional spectrum. So you need to acknowledge that, and once you acknowledge that is something, then you cannot repress a lot of emotions because where we are going wrong as a society is that we are repressing a lot of emotions, and we are only focusing on one or two emotions. Happiness is one of them, excitement is another of them, But if you, we are all on a dosage of like, let's be happy and let's be excited 24/7. But that is not true. That's impossible by nature. So with a lot of these scents, which is like, for example, the scent of rose, we help you kind of give due importance to all of the emotions that are present inside you, so that you can live a very stabilized emotional equilibrium life. And the second is, for example, jasmine. Jasmine is the scent of night. So we talk about the power of subconscious, and we talk about the power of the inner child healing when we do the scented meditation. Third is, for example, the scent of lotus, which blooms in mud, and we talk about that how the strength and the determination it takes to rise up, even in situations which are not working in your favor. And there are many more like that, where we derive the nuances of from the scent, from the flower, because it teaches us so much. If you see a tree growing in front of you, a flower growing in front of you, and how they behave, their characteristics, you can learn so much from them, and that we use in the scent meditation as well.
Oh, very nice. I don't know if we covered the philosophy of Attar. We talked a lot about botany and plants and the perfume from plants. I don't know. We touched upon the philosophy of Attar.
So the philosophy of a fragrance is something which is very dear to me. I have talked about it earlier as well throughout my digital channels. So because my mother is a philosopher, so I have philosophy as a concept, as a structure in itself, is something which is very deep rooted inside my heart. And philosophy is basically a medium to know, to get to the truth of something. Okay, and by far it is to get to the truth of yourself. So if you can get closer to yourself, anything which helps you get closer to yourself is philosophy. So can a scent help you get closer to yourself? And that is something which I cannot answer it for people, because that is something which is so individual and so personal, that we set people off on that journey, and we let them discover the joy of discovering their own scent while they discover themselves. So, what do you like? What do you not like? What are your triggers? What are your memories? What are your influences? What are the deep emotions that are residing inside of you? That's such a beautiful personal journey. And if a scent can help you do that, and if we can help you do that, that itself becomes the philosophy of fragrance.
Oh, that's a very different and eye-opening perspective on Attar. Thanks for sharing that,
Thank you.
Isha. And now let's talk a little more about Kastur and your plans for the future. And
Right.
and there are quite a few of our investors as well who view this
Right.
show. So maybe this is for them primarily. So maybe you could talk about your let's say expansion plans.
So Kastu started with a vision to take India on the global map of fragrances, and to reinstate our authority on the global map of fragrances. And we are officially distributing in UAE now and the US as well. So apart from India, you can officially find us in these two countries as well through different partners. And we have a very first experience store, which we've opened like, I think so, 5 months back, 4 to 5 months back. And the plan is to make many more stores like this. We always wanted our very first store to be an experience store, so that we can give you this immersive experience that I've explained so far through the very first store, and take you on a journey through an Nitra. And the rest, to have these kind of inclusions across India, across touch points as well. That is our plan, to be a part of a lot many airports, India International. That is our plan, and to have more strategic retail partnerships. So we are also launching our very first spatial scent. So till now we were only in body scents. So we are moving into home scents as well. We have a lot of hospitality projects as well aligned, and a lot of wedding hospitality projects, and a lot of personal customized scent projects as well, that is aligned, because people come up to us and ask us to devise a scent for them. And same goes for the B2B market as well. So we do branding, we do sense for brands as well, where we understand the emotion behind the brand, and we create that scent. What is the feeling that you will want to give to your customer with your scent? So yes, this is the plan to go into the future. If I would, if I could have a cursory on that.
So in terms of the markets, I heard you say UAE, where you have own stores. Are you distributing, and what
No, we're
about
distributing
other
that right
markets?
now with a partner. So it's called the Great Indian Ayurveda, and we are distributing in the UAE with them. So similarly, we have partner called the Shifali Ayurveda in the US, and we are distributing them with them through. Sorry, distributing at the place through them. So it's mostly a lot of clean eco-based systems, clean beauty ecosystems, where we are part of, where people would want to have clean scents because they never thought that they could have a scent which does not have any alcohol or chemicals, and it doesn't smell like very heavy or heady. It's accustomed to their sensibilities, and it still doesn't have any alcohol or chemicals. It's completely plant based. So that in itself, like people, clean beauty is on a rise as a market in itself. And while you can get clean beauty in terms of your skincare and your makeup, but people were really, really looking forward, were looking for and searching for clean beauty scents, and that is where we come in.
And how are you seeing the adoption in the Western markets, where there's a trend of at least the new generation wanting to move away from a lot of artificial products to more natural and organic products? So what are you seeing on the ground in these markets?
Definitely, that is on the rise, Saji. So the future of the beauty industry is clean beauty. Like people have started reading the labels of not just their scents, but they have started reading the labels of any product that they are putting on their body. I think so. The post-COVID world is very different from a pre-COVID world, and we are extremely conscious as a society on what we are consuming and what we are in terms of food as well. You see a lot of the biggest brands in the food industry are now coming out transparent in what they have been using inside their products as well. So it's not just happening in one category, it's happening across the category, that the focus is towards a more natural, more organic, more cleaner ecosystems, because we are very conscious on what we're consuming now. So that definitely has a very, very big ripple effect on what the fragrance industry as well. And people are demanding a completely chemical-less and alcohol-less scents. So that is the new wave of the industry for sure.
And finally, Esha, where can our viewers find you?
You can find us primarily on our website. It is called www.kastu.co. By kastu.co, we're also on our Instagram, and we're very much active there on our DMs. You can always physically find me at our experience store in New Delhi. That's where I'm sitting right now. So you can always I love to meet my customers in person. So you can always physically find me here at most times, and you can get connected to our Instagram, because we keep on updating on where all we have exhibitions throughout India and across the borders as well, internationally as well. So we keep on updating. We have across approximately 18 to 19 plus distribution sources right now in terms of strategic retail partnerships. So we keep on updating that on our social media channels as well. So please do find us there, and I'll be happy to serve you with what we call as modern ethers.
A great discussion, Esha. It was a pleasure having you on the show, and we'll talk soon. And for our viewers out there, we'll be here same time next week with another young entrepreneur. Look forward to talking to you soon.
This has been a Now Media Networks feature presentation. All rights reserved.